Hi, this is Cecilia and welcome to this new tutorial. This time for my last tutorial project for the amazing Graphic 45 I used wild and free paper collection. So beautiful and tender colors that I really enjoy so much working with them. And I made an album. This album is to give you ideas for Mother's Day or Father's Day, but just change the paper collection, of course. But also I want to thank to Graphic 45 with this album as well. You will see that I had only my pictures, but because it's what I had on hand, close and really fast to work with. But you can do it for your mother, your friend that is a mother, your grandmother, anybody deserves a beautiful handmade album made by yourself. I think it turned out so beautiful. And in this tutorial, I will show you how to make all the structure with the chipboard, the covers, and as well the spine, but also how to reinforce the spine and the measurements for those chipboard pieces, but also for the pages. For that pages, I use watercolor paper to ink them a little bit, just to add a bit of color. I hope you will like it and you will give it a try. And don't forget to tag me and tag Graphic 45 to see your projects. To complete this album, I use papers from the 12 by 12 and the patterns and solid, but just a few sheets. I use almost all the stickers and some of the ephemera assortments and the journaling cards as well. Before we start the tutorial, I want to thank you all for following my work in Graphic 45 team, and of course thank you Graphic 45. These 2 years has been really amazing. I enjoyed so much this opportunity, and that is going to be always present in my life. Thank you so much for everybody, and let's start the tutorial. As I told you, we'll be using this beautiful paper collection wild and free, and you will need from chipboard 2 millimeters, one piece that measure 1 3/4 by 7 and two that measure 3 5/8 by 7. One of these is a window, and you can see here the distance that I left from the top to the center, from the bottom to the center, and from both sides is 3/4 of an inch to the center. Then you just need to cut that piece, and I am joining the 3 pieces first with masking tape, but you can see here I am removing it. Well, it's because we need to leave enough space to move the covers, okay? But I always like to reinforce with some fabric, and I am using this really thin fabric in the back, and I will cover to the inside as well as you are watching right now. And that makes me feel more secure with the paper that is going to resist, and all the pieces will stand together. Now it's time to add these beautiful patterns and solid papers. You are watching here the measurements of the paper, but what you need to leave always is a good space all around to cover this piece completely. I am using double-sided tape, but I start only with the back cover, okay? I will put this first because we need to open the window in the left side of the screen, okay? So be sure you are adhering this piece properly, and of course I am going to crease it from the back to be sure it is already stick, and continue opening the window. And that's something easy to do because you just need to mark with your pencil and then just remove that piece. I'm going to use this gorgeous ivory glitter washi tape for the window because I don't want to see the chipboard just in case, and it's something easy to do. You are going to see how I do it, and you can see in the cover I already add my double-sided tape. Well, you just need to remove it a little bit and then just measure the size of each one of the sides of the window, and then just cut it and align it the best that you can because you want to cover in the back as well, okay? And in that way we will cover the chipboard piece that is always it's not a nice color to see because it doesn't match with the project. That's the reason. You can see here I am taking my measurement from the opposite side because I already have the paper that protects the double-sided tape, and now I can put it on the right place, and again just cover the double-sided tape just to prevent that it's going to stick before we finish this part of the process on the paper below. Okay, now that it's ready, I am starting to add the glue, but I remember that I want to add a piece of acetate. You need to cut two pieces, one for the front and one for the back, and just put it on place. I like to use always a strong adhesive for that, okay? But you can use the adhesive that is better for you, okay? Now we can continue covering the outside of this beautiful album. The outside it's covered. Now we need to start with the inside, and I have this trick for you because I forgot to take the measurement before to the inside paper. You can use only a light behind the paper, and it's easy, really easy to see where to make your marks. Now you just need it to remove, and the paper I cut it just a little bit small than the chipboard pieces, okay? Just because I want to cover as much as I can, but you can leave more frame if you want. And this is a leftover piece, the pink one that I from the cover that I am going to use it, but now in the flat color to the spine. Okay, now we need to open the window for the left side, but before, of course, we need to add the acetate on the place, but also the beads or sequins that you want to add. But first, let's concentrate with the spine. I like to use first the double-sided tape close to the large edges, because that is going to keep the paper on place. And I like to start with trying to center all the paper, and when that is ready, then I can stick both sides as you are watching here. Just crease the gap perfectly first, and then you can stick those side flaps on place. Again, on the very edge, I use the strong double-sided tape, that red one. And now I can use my liquid glue, because I like to use that. And now we can complete this part of the process in both sides, cover and back cover as well. First, I add my ribbons inside the covers, but I have to say that I don't feel safe, so I just cut them flush with the edge, and then I just stick them outside. Okay, now let's make the window. Finish that. Add your sequins or beads, everything you want to add, but just remember that needs to be just big enough to keep inside. Okay, cover that window with the other piece of acetate, and I like to use a strong adhesive to stick the acetate with the paper. That's why I am using this all around the window. And now we can add this beautiful paper that I have to say, this is so sweet and beautiful paper. I love this with the monkeys in pastel colors. It's really, really beautiful. And I wanted to add also in the spine this beautiful fabric. It's a piece of kind of lace with tulle or embroidery tulle to the spine. And now here you are watching that the ribbons are already outside, and it's easy to cover. I use this beautiful stick to cover in the back, and in the front it will be covered as well with the decoration. I add two regular size gold eyelets on the spine, as you are watching, one on top and one on the bottom, because I want to add more elements here. And first I put inside the hole, the top hole, the trim, and then the eyelet. And now you just need to remove the excess on the back, and you are ready to add the beads and the piece of chipboard. And how to do it without dying on the intent? Well, I use some glue on the tip of this ribbon to secure all the threads, and in that way it's going to be really easy to put all that you want inside. And now this beautiful chipboard piece that make a gorgeous contrast with the paper on the covers. And here now you just need to secure the bottom side of the with the other eyelet, and just pull in the back the trim to put it really secure. And again, just cut the excess, and now we have the spine ready, and we can start the decoration of the front cover. Okay, I am using here mostly ephemera assortments, but also one of the chipboard pieces. At the end of the video, underneath this piece that I am almost sticking right now, I added another embellishment, and I really love it how this looks. So enjoy it, and now we will finish the cover, and then we can continue with the inside. And now with the outside and cover ready, we can continue with the inside. I use, as I mentioned, a watercolor paper. This is about 300 grams thick, and the first piece measures 7 3/4 by 6 3/4, and in the long side I score at 3 1/4 and 4 1/2, as you are watching here. Okay, the second piece, because this is an U spine, the piece measures 7 1/4 by 6 3/4 tall. So in the long side I score at 3 1/4 and at 4. Okay, and the third piece of paper measure, it's a square, so it measures 6 3/4 by 6 3/4, and in one side you are going to score at 3 1/4 and 3 1/2, and that's it. You will have 6 pages to work with. But first, before we add anything else, I am just going to add a bit of color using my inks, and as you are watching, I am using this package and added a little bit of the ink and then some water, and then just play with the plastic on top of the paper, and use you can leave it air dry or use your hot dryer, but just to add a little bit of color, not too much in both sides and in all the pieces. More elements that I use, I made some envelopes with this vellum paper to decorate, and this was cut with the policy and decorative dies. I will use this gorgeous stamp by Gaphic 45 as well, but I am going to use another stamps from my stash to add some interest in the background, and some archival ink, and just a few elements extra to add more interest and make my collages for each page. I will show you how I made the first and the last page in this tutorial, but the intention is only to show you how many things you can do with these beautiful papers and just play with them. And it depends of the size of your pictures also, the way this is going to be making the arrangement. This is the first page, and the picture it's going to be seen through the window. It's important to check that you are sticking the picture in the right place. That's why you will watch me moving it from the top, from the bottom, and at the end I decided to change for another picture, because I think it matches better with the size of my window. So that's something to think when you are making this album, that you will be able to see the picture through the window. With this page, I just want to say thank you to Graphic 45 family for these great 2 years that I spent creating for you. I mean, 2 pandemic years were really easier to resist with the joy of crafting with you and for your amazing brand. That was a dream, and I really enjoyed it so much. So this is why I made this page, and you can see here that I put the thanks word on the top and the graphic 45 that I am currently right now. That piece is from the sheets, the information strip that is on the sheets. So I just sized that down to fit in this page. And then for the tanks, I use the graphic 45 dies to make this, and I cut it twice in the watercolor paper that I have left and stick them together, and then just add a little bit of color to pop that on the beautiful paper that is in the background. So thank you so much, and for all the crafters out there that follows this amazing brand, thank you for your kind comments in all these 2 years. I really enjoyed reading and answering as much as I could, and I hope you can keep going in the crafting as we are all doing, because this is really a happy moment always. So thank you so much, Graphic 45, and thank you to all. Now it's time to stick all the three pieces together. Just be sure you are using enough glue, and I recommend to use liquid glue in this step. I feel more safe with the liquid glue than the double-sided tape, but it's your preference, of course. And first I am sticking the last and the middle pages or pieces, and of course you need to crease perfectly in the center to be sure it is completely stick, and then just add the other one to the center, and then just stick that in the spine of the album. So that's it. I hope you will give it a try, and don't forget to share with us your project. We will love so much to see your project as well. And last but not least, because I really love so much this pattern paper, and I added a tiny space on the back cover with the beautiful washi tape as well, and some stickers extra for embellish my pages, and that's it. We'll see in Graphic 45's blog more pictures to see the finished pages, and take it as a reference if you want to replicate this album.